just leaving the Mt.Dare hotel, heading for the Andado track. We'll move up through there tonight, camp somewhere, and then from there on to Alice Sprigs tomorrow. After travelling through sand, corrugated gravel roads and bull dust, we're now driving through this lush green farmland. This is nothing short of amazing. Now these are corrugations. After a short stop for some photos, this was amazing. There's a saying, where there's water there's life. If there was any doubt, this confirms it for me. This small gully was literally a lake. We travelled to the other side of this lake, as there were sand dunes over there that would give us a better opportunity to view the whole area.
Worth the climb, Rafe.
Even these flying ants were making the most of the lush environment. Then it was time to move on to Old Andado. Imagine living with no closed-in verandas, no windows, no fly screens, no doors. The temperature in summer can escalate to over 50 degrees Celsius with ant plagues, hundreds of thousands of flies, snakes and other creepy crawlies to deal with. Well, let me introduce you to Old Andado Station. The station sits in isolation as a reminder of the bygone days on the land. The name Andado comes from the Southern Arrente Aborigine word for a stone implement. The history of the Old Andado has its roots as a pastoral property from the 1800s. However, it wasn't until 1908 that the land was occupied. George and Robert McDill, together with Henry Roper, acquired part of that land for grazing in 1914. By 1933, the station was running 1,300 sheep, 420 cattle and 116 horses. The McDill brothers sold Andado Station in 1942 and had changed hands a number of times before H. Overton bought the property in 1955. Overton formed a partnership with Molly and Malcolm Clarke called Andado Pastoral Company after Malcolm had worked on the station since 1949. The Clarkes then owned the property outright from 1969. The original home, that still stands today, was built in the mid-1920s and was restored by the Clarkes in the 1970s. The family was forced to destock, then sell up in the 1980s because of brucellosis and tuberculosis. Molly managed to acquire a 45 square kilometre crown lease of land around the old homestead. She then renamed the property Old Andado, and it became a tourist destination where people could experience what it would have been like living in a time far removed from today. After a good look around the homestead, it was decided to make a run up to the Mack Clarke Reserve to check out some of the old trees. So after more corrugations, bull dust pits, we arrive at the reserve. Having spent so much time on the property, Malcolm Clarke identified the acacia puce or waddywood as an extremely scarce and slow-growing tree. In order to protect this resource, a reserve was put in place, the Mack Clarke Conservation Reserve. Acacia puce, or waddywood, is one of the rarest and most striking trees that grows in the Australian arid zone. Found in only 3 locations worldwide, it survives at this reserve on a stony windswept plain where the average rainfall is 150 millimetres. The only other places it's found in Australia are Boulia and Birdsville in Western Queensland. About 1,000 mature trees are protected here, and some are fenced to protect them from the cattle. Waddywood is an extremely hard wood that was traditionally used to make digging tools by the local Aboriginal people. Then it was a quick stop on the way back to Old Andado to collect some firewood for the night. While Liz took off with the camera to the distant sand dunes, I set up camp and then chilled. Do sunsets get any better than this? I don't think so. Someone left it pretty late before returning to camp.
We have the last morning of our trip. We're leaving the Old Andado station and heading on to Alice Sprigs.
As we head for Alice Springs, we run parallel with the dunes, offering some great views of shapes and colours. After a pretty full morning in the vehicle, someone thought some exercise was a good idea.
Right.
So we stopped for a ball game. Nature would provide this crop of paddy melons, which was all that was needed.
Yeah, we could do a slow motion back.
John's winning so far.
Bouncing off the wet.
Okay.
Yep. You'll go.
Those people from South Australia, the colours on these hills remind you of anywhere?
Flinders Ranges, I'm guessing.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look at that. There is two. Got their own little hangar.
The next point of interest was Santa Teresa. This Catholic mission was established in the 1950s to house Aboriginal people who mostly came from the Alice Springs region. It is located about an hour's drive from Alice.
That one. This one.
Hey guys, what a great trip. There are some people we need to thank though. Our fellow tourers, we came from all walks of life and became one for the last 9 days. Everybody pitched in where needed. We shared some amazing experiences and stories around the campfire. To our tour guides and friends, Bob and Marion, that made us feel so comfortable and allowed us to enjoy our holiday with as much or as little input as required. They helped us to understand our vehicle, teach us new skills and to appreciate and take care of the environment while touring. Whilst Bob and Marion no longer run these tours, there are people out there that do. So if you're interested in seeing parts of Australia that seem a bit hard to get to, or you don't want to go on your own, do some research, because this is a great way to get out there.
And we've got to go.
Well, we're in Alice Springs,
Rocks here.
and I guess we need to get home, so stay tuned. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into Australia's backyard with John and Liz. Travel safe and don't let the dust settle.